An Alabama man is languishing in jail after the county violated his First Amendment rights. He was harassed by his neighbors, and then he was arrested for harassment himself when all he was doing was attempting to protect himself and his property. Let me tell you this story because it's crazy. This is Jerry Lee Clark, a business owner, a hardworking man who spent 2.5 decades painting houses around the Birmingham, Alabama area. And when he bought a new house in August of 2024, he planned to stay there. When Donald Trump was inaugurated, Mr. Jerry put up a sign. This is that sign. You can see, "Not my president, never," and what's crossed out. And immediately, his Christian-loving neighbors, well, they began defacing the sign. They began pulling in Jerry's driveway, driving all the way up to his house, taking photos of him, his grandchildren, and anybody that was outside anytime they drove by, screaming at anybody on the property that they needed to take the sign down if they knew what was best for them. They would drive by at all hours of the day, honking their horn, flashing their lights, yelling out the window, and throwing debris in his yard. So Jerry did what any citizen would do. He went to the government. He reported it to the county sheriff, to the local police chief in the local town, and nobody did anything. In fact, the sheriff's office went so far as to tell him to take the sign down. They said, "You can keep it up. It's your First Amendment rights, but you really need to take it down because it's making our job harder. We always have to come out here and talk to you because your sign is up, so you need to take it down." That's a violation of Jerry's First Amendment. And then as his neighbors began defacing the sign, destroying the sign, Jerry decided, the sheriff's not doing anything for me. The government, who's supposed to help me here with being harassed, is not doing anything. So I'm going to protect my property myself. And I don't condone what Jerry did, but Jerry decided to put fencing around his sign. He did change the sign a couple times throughout this, so this is its final form. How do you spell clown? And you see the answer there. He has an upside down American flag because these are all his ability and his First Amendment rights to do it. And you see the razor wire around it as a fence. What you don't see is he buried in the ground legally bought explosive fireworks, legally bought fireworks from a local firework company, and he wired them as such according to the state that he could detonate them from within his home to scare off intruders. Noise, a little bit of light, hopefully scare them away. They were M80s according to receipts. Now, that's not what landed Jerry in jail, because Jerry is in jail and he's been there since June. As everything continued to escalate, the sheriff got upset as well as the number of complaints came in about him razor wiring the sign, and people can't destroy it now. So the sheriff's office started driving by, hitting their sirens, hitting their horns, and blasting their spotlight into Jerry's house at all hours of the day, harassing Jerry. Harassing Jerry's wife as well, who needs a full-time caregiver, which happens to be Jerry. So Jerry did what anybody that the government had turned their back on would do to protect his property, his sanity, and his house. He bought a loudspeaker with an audible alarm, and he got a high-powered blue laser. Now, according to the sheriff's office, on a night in June, a sheriff's deputy was driving by just down the road for no reason whatsoever, and, well, Jerry hit the loudspeaker and shined the light in the sheriff deputy's eyes. So the sheriff's office arrested Mr. Jerry, and they arrested him for 2 counts of harassment and reckless endangerment for shining the laser in the sheriff's eyes. So the man that was being harassed by the sheriff's office, the people supposedly there to protect him and his property and his neighbors, was arrested for harassment. When the sheriff's office went and served a warrant on his property, they found the fireworks, and they went ahead and added on 2 counts of transporting, developing, manufacturing destructive devices and biological weapons. Yeah. So Jerry's in prison. Well, not prison, just jail. Just the county jail on a $400,000 cash bond. And Jerry, at some point, had a stroke. He has weakness on the side of his body. His face droops. He shows indications of hypoxia with blue fingernails. He's gone from 220 pounds to around 160 pounds. And on one visit, Jerry's family found him like this. And the sheriff's office, the jail, they have no note of how Jerry got a broken nose and 2 black eyes. In fact, they won't release any of his medical records, even to his family members that have a power of attorney to access his medical records. There's no indication that Jerry's seen a medical professional, even though he's exhibiting signs of a stroke and he continues to deteriorate. His daughter reached out to me because she doesn't believe that he will be alive come August of 2026 when his case actually goes to trial. And Jerry admits as well that there are things that he probably shouldn't have done. But he felt backed into a corner. His neighbors were actively harassing him. It was and is his First Amendment right to put up such a sign, and the sheriff's office that was supposed to protect him refused to do anything. And for the family, just because Jerry's in jail doesn't mean that the harassment has ended. The sign has been painted over. It's solid white. But a neighbor named Steve Rasbury, Rasbury, continues to drive by the house, honking his horn, screaming at people outside, pulling into the driveway and yelling at children that they better take the sign down if they know what's good for them. In fact, Mr. Jerry's daughter broke her lease and moved in with her mother to be the full-time caregiver that Jerry was. And she is being harassed daily by Steve. She has called the sheriff's deputies and office more than 13 times against Steve, and he continues to harass her. And the sheriff refuses to do anything. So one of the primary reasons that Mr. Jerry escalated in the way that he did is still actively harassing the family. The district attorney refuses to do anything. The county sheriff and the local police chief in the local town refuse to do anything. Steve walks free for harassing a man to the point that he had to take drastic measures. And Mr. Jerry is deteriorating in jail. I've called the DA office. I used press credentials to try to get answers. And initially they began talking. And when they realized this would be a negative story about them, they clammed up and they said, we can't talk about an active investigation, which is actually against Alabama state law. I reported them to the attorney general, who apparently knows the new district attorney really well, who just won election, by the way, as a Republican, and they refused to talk about the case, said I'd have to talk to the DA. The county sheriff's office just says, hey, Mr. Jerry's in jail, he's in our medical unit, and we don't know his condition, and we're not going to talk or answer any questions. Good luck. So what can we do? How can we get Mr. Jerry home? Because he should have never been put in jail. He was not the aggressor here. He's the victim. He's a victim of a malicious and corrupt government. He's the victim of a good old boy system that all would do anything for our current president. And he is a victim of utilizing his First Amendment right in a way that people did not agree with. Mr. Jerry should be at home, helping take care of his wife, having coffee with his wife and daughter, and playing games with his grandkids, not languishing in jail, hoping that he has his day in court before he dies.